Hello, beautiful friends. I hope you're all doing amazing. If you do not know me, my name is Nicole. I go by the High Priestess 11 on Instagram, and I am a channel, medium, and healer. And today I'm going to do a little energy update for you. This is all about a Kundalini activation wave that came in, I would say, about 5 days ago. I created a post on Instagram. First, I'm going to read that to you, and then I will tell you my experience with this activation and what you can kind of expect to feel at that moment and then afterwards. Okay, ready? So there are high levels of energy in the form of light plasma present all around us at the moment. There's always light plasma present on Earth, but at this moment the levels are elevated because the Earth is moving through a region of space that's dense in exotic particles, and we have been affected by the sun's heightened activity. Don't mind my cracked phone. You may even be seeing the plasma and particles all around you. I find it's easy to see them when I'm in meditation or when I look at the sky. It looks like tiny translucent stars dancing in the sky. It may also look like static as well. This energy made its way to Earth about 5 days ago. I think it's like maybe 6 or 7 now. And it is now penetrating into our bodies and energy fields. It's causing a shift and change within us, but you must be open to it and not fear the odd sensations that you may be feeling. We are so powerful that we can resist the energy and not utilize it because of our fear and discomfort. This energy is quite literally lifting us up and causing our Kundalini energy to rise and expand. This can cause some interesting sensations in the body, and I wanted to share with you what you can expect so you're prepared and not afraid. What to expect? Feeling very, very emotional, whether it's good or bad. It's just like heightened emotions. Loss of energy in the root chakra, causing you to feel turned on, but it's energy growing in that space. So your life force energy and your sexual energy are exactly the same thing. So if there's a buildup of that energy happening at your root chakra, it's going to feel like you're horny, basically. And for no reason. Like you'll just be out to lunch eating like a snack and you'll feel super horny. So it's just like out of nowhere. Waves of orgasmic bliss moving through your body, feeling like your physical body is dissolving, static or vibration in the body, especially when you wake up in the morning or before bed at night. Changes in taste and smell, and hot flashes. Seeing waves of light and color, feeling like your soul is rising up and out of your body. This will, if you don't know what's happening, it'll make you feel like you're dying. And so what we do is it kind of triggers a fear response in the ego because the ego doesn't want to die. And if we rise so high within the body, then the ego kind of drops off a bit. And so it's scared, it will trigger your fear. But you're not going to die, I promise. It just feels like you are. These sensations will trigger anxiety and a little bit of fear because that Kundalini energy will force any trauma out of your body. So it might make you feel a little uncomfortable. My advice to you, surrender to it and don't be afraid. Calm your mind when fears arise and allow yourself to have this blessed experience. Your whole life will change for the better. And no, you're not going crazy. You are having a mystical experience of the soul. This is what we have been working so hard for, healing ourselves, doing shadow work, clearing our ancestral trauma. Kundalini awakening is an initiation and rite of passage into an awakened life. This is what we've been waiting for. This is the awakening of humanity happening through you. These light plasma waves and highly charged exotic particles will continue to wash over the planet until everyone here is transformed. So don't worry if you're not feeling this yet. The awakening of humanity is happening in waves and on an individual level, meaning one at a time and not all at the same time. You're not behind or ahead. Everyone is exactly where they should be. Remember, you're safe. You're not alone. This experience is a holy one and you have nothing to fear. It's only scary because it's new to you. Surrender to the emotions, sensations, and the experience. You've got this. Beautiful. So now I'm going to share with you what my first Kundalini awakening was like. And then I'm going to share with you what the one I experienced was like maybe 3 or 4 days ago. 3 days ago. So in 2019, late 2019, I went through a very chaotic time when my son got really sick. Nobody knew what was wrong with him. He was in the hospital for a week. It looked really bad. It was like my worst fear. Like myself, I can handle if something bad happens to me. My kid, I could not handle. So for 5 days, it felt like I wasn't even in my body while he was sick in the hospital. And that triggered something inside of me. I don't know what it triggered, but it felt like I wasn't even operating my body anymore. It felt really crazy. And so he's fine. He's totally fine. The doctors never figured out what was wrong with him. And he's great. And so everything changed for me after that. I realized that I didn't care anymore about anything aside from being a mom. And it caused my life to flip upside down. And so I began having these really crazy spiritual experiences. And at the time, I had no idea. I was always into spirituality a little bit. I always had a feeling that I had a little something going on, but I didn't understand the extent of my gifts. And they didn't really come online completely until I went through my awakening. And so I remember laying in bed and having these really weird feelings of my body dissolving. Like my whole body felt like it was glittering, or it felt like TV static for the older people here. I don't think we have TV static anymore. But it felt like, that black and white static that you see on the old TVs. My whole body felt like that. And I felt like I was being lifted out of my body. And it really freaked me out at first. I thought I was going crazy and I was losing my mind. I was having hot flashes, like sweating constantly. I think it was like for a month or two. I also was super nauseous and sick to my stomach. So of course I was like convinced I was pregnant, but I wasn't, not at all. And then I was also having these sensations of having contractions. So I already have 2 kids. I know what a contraction feels like. But it's like a hardening of your muscles down there. And so it kind of feels like it's just contracting and then releasing, and then contracting and then releasing. And then the horny thing happened to me, and I'm like, what the heck? I've never felt like this in my life. It was like nonstop for 3 months. I was just feeling like that. And so I began to think I was going crazy. I really thought I was losing my mind. The way that my life was unfolding was unreal. I would kind of have a feeling about something and it would happen. And so my gifts were already starting to emerge before I even had my awakening. It was traumatic, to say the least. It was scary because I didn't know. And so I started to see things. I remember being in the bath one day. Oh, let me touch on that. I started taking energy cleansing baths because my grandma had passed away 1.5 years before that. And I was so close with this lady. Like, I felt like she was the only person that really loved me in my life. And so when she was gone, it was hard for me. And so I made her a little altar. I put her little makeup there and some water and some flowers. And I was like, girl, I miss you so much. I miss you so much. Like, I'm struggling. And soon after that, I started to see her in my head, like in my mind and my imagination. And sorry for the background noise. I started to see her in my mind, and she would show me energy cleansing baths. And she would show me that she used to do them for me when I was little. And so that's how I learned how to do energy cleansing baths. And so it was almost like my mind was harassing me. I couldn't get the thought out of my mind of doing the baths. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe let me just do it. I'll just do it because it's in my head. So let me just do it. So I did it. And instantly, the first time, I felt so much better. And I was like, oh, I like how this feels. I had tried so many things before that because I've always been very depressed, very anxious. I tried pills, therapy, mushrooms, you name it, I've tried it. And so those baths made me feel better than any of those things ever had, just doing them once. And I was in such a bad place. And I said to myself, I'm just going to do this every day because it's the only thing that's making me feel better. And so one day I remember being in the bath and I started seeing things. The room was changing colors. It was like blue and purple, and there were shapes moving. And I was like, oh my God, I've lost it. I've totally lost it. I'm seeing shit. And I prayed. I said, God, please help me. Like, I can't do this anymore. I'm actually going crazy. I'm going to end my life because I can't take this. And boom, in that moment, I had a really abrupt awakening. It was when I was in the water, and it kind of just shot through my body, and it felt like I was dying. And I was like, I changed my mind. I don't want to die anymore. And I didn't really have a choice. And so something kind of forced me to leave my body and was like, go with God. And so I did. So I just left my body, and I had the intent to go with God because that's what I heard in my head that I needed to do. So I did it, and I kind of lifted off of my body, and I came back in, and profound. The healing that occurred was profound. My pain was gone. The weight on my soul was gone. I wasn't anxious anymore. I was no longer depressed. And I came out of that knowing I have to help other people. Because if I can help other people have this experience, then I can help other people cure their anxiety and depression. Because that was something I had dealt with my whole life. I had friends that took their own lives. And so I just came out of that, and I knew that I had to help other people that were going through the same thing. So after that, everything changed. Like, my perception of the world changed. Everything felt different. It felt like I was in a different world, but everything looked the same. So the birds were louder, the grass was greener, the trees were more green. Everything was like, it had the brightness, not the brightness, the saturation turned up, so everything was very vivid. Food tastes better. Everything was different. Sex felt better. It was just crazy. And so your entire body is waking up, and that means your perception and your senses are also going to change. So do not be freaked out if this happens to you. It's actually a really beautiful experience. But again, if you don't know, it's freaking scary, right? Because what the heck? We're taught that if we see things, we're crazy. If we hear things, we're crazy. If we're having these experiences, like, it's like being on drugs without drugs. And so if you have some experience like that, you might think that there's something wrong with you, kind of like how I thought. And that's why I'm here sharing this with you in the first place. And so since then, I've been doing my work. I've been helping people. It's been great. And I think about a month ago, I'm going to get into the second one that happened, how I figured out we're all having these experiences. I think it was a month ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I started really, really going through a hard time. I felt very low again. And this is just a part of healing, so I'm aware of it. I know that I'm not going to stay in that low place, but it was tough. It was hard, and I was releasing a lot of pain around my ancestral trauma. I was having visions of my mom and her mom and her mom, kind of passing on this abandonment wound, and I was just like, really struggling to release all of this and crying all the time. I was having such a hard time. And then I think about a week and a half ago, or a week ago, I started to notice that everything smelled weird and tasted weird. And I was like, what is happening? Am I pregnant? Again, I thought the same thing. And so I take a test. I'm not. And I'm like, what is going on? This is weird. I know it's a spiritual thing because I know everything is a spiritual thing for the most part. If it is not a spiritual thing, it's a spiritual thing first, and then it evolves into a physical thing. So I'm like, this is so freaking weird. So I shared on my Instagram, I'm like, hey guys, are you guys having weird smell things and taste things? So many people said yes. And I was like, I don't know what's going on exactly, but something's going on. And so I kind of I have the intention to know. I'm like, this is weird. I would like to know more about this, universe. And so usually over the course of 3 or 4 days, I then receive more information. So I was going through this weird smelling and tasting thing. Very weird. The food that I would usually eat tasted like bitter. I could smell things that were inside of the packaging on the other side of the room. Like that intense. And I was like, this is so weird. And then after a few days of the weird smell and taste things, I started to feel the horny thing again. And I'm like, literally just out to lunch, hanging out with my boyfriend. And I'm like, this is weird. I usually don't feel that way. And I tell him, I'm like, something's going on. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I ignore it. And then I start to notice the vibrating in the body. When it's time for bed, I'm vibrating. When I wake up, I'm vibrating. It doesn't scare me this time because I know exactly what's happening. I actually kind of like it. I think it's cool. It's a beautiful experience. It feels good to me because now I understand exactly what's happening. So I have this vibrating in my body. And then 3 days ago, I wake up and I'm like, I have arrived. I feel so freaking good. I'm in the car driving to go look at a house to rent because I've been looking for a house. And so I'm driving, I'm by myself. Something told me to go by myself. So I went by myself. I turned the music up and I'm just feeling so freaking good in a way I have never felt before. And usually when I drive, I receive messages or have like these profound visions when I'm driving because I'm in flow state. So my physical body is driving and my consciousness is open and free to receive information or to travel. And so I have this feeling in my chest of like, oh my God, I did it. I did it. I don't know exactly what I have done, but I did it. I'm here. I have arrived. The universe loves me. I love myself. I love everything and everyone. Just like immense bliss pouring out of my heart. And I'm like, this is it. I don't know what it is, but this is it. Like, it just feels so good. And so I went to go look at the house. It was great. And, you know, the owner said she liked me, but keep in mind, I have had so many experiences looking at houses and they've all fallen through. It's been 2 years since I've been looking. And so I'm like, you know what? I just feel so freaking good. I know if it's for me, I'll get it. And if it's not, I won't. And that's okay. And I'm not worried about it. And so I came home and I got really, really tired. I was just super exhausted. So I'm like, I'm going to go to sleep. So I'm laying down, my whole body starts vibrating again. And I feel this, I feel like I'm going to make me emotional talking about it. I feel this sensation in my chest of like, I'm going to say burning, but it's not burning. It's like a sensation of an orgasm, like a muscular sensation. And I feel it, and it's like waves of energy that are moving up from my root chakra and like kind of washing over my body. And I feel it in my chest and I feel it in my throat. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm doing it. This is a Kundalini again. And I feel the contractions. I feel the contractions in my uterus, and I'm like, okay, we're doing it. And so I let it wash over me, and I cry and I cry and I cry and I cry with just so much bliss and love. And I feel myself leaving my body, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And I'm just feeling it. And my boyfriend's like, are you okay? And I'm like, nope, I'm going through another spiritual awakening right now. And so it's just moving through my body immensely, and I let it. I don't fight it because I'm not afraid. I welcome it. It's blissful. It's beautiful. And so it comes out of me. I think it takes maybe 15 minutes altogether to take place. And I'm laying in my bed, tears in my eyes, and my phone rings, and it's the lady from the house telling me that I've been approved for the house. Pfft, crazy. And I'm like, was it my energy when I went in there? Like, she must have felt that. I don't know. Well, everything was it just was so perfect. And all day I had been seeing angel numbers, and I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful, blessing, love it. And so I wanted to share this with all of you because if you have not yet experienced this, you are going to experience it. And I don't want you ever to think that you're crazy, or I don't want you to ever think that this is something bad and that you should be afraid of it, because it's beautiful. It will set you free. If you guys have any questions about this, if you're going through it and you don't know what's going on, or you need some help, you want to talk to somebody about it, you can feel free to send me a message on Instagram at the High Priestess 11. I have a community. I have a community of 230 plus people that are going through this and have gone through this, and I will put that link in the bio. I also have a guided meditation that teaches you how to build up your Kundalini energy and rise it up through your body. I will also put that in the description if that's something that you want to encourage. It will help you have that experience. Just know that the universe is for you having that experience. So the energy that is present right now is supporting you having this experience. So if you do the meditation, if you take the baths, if you want this to happen, if you're ready for this to happen, the universe is supporting that. So just know that it's for you. It's not something that is crazy that only happens to a few people. It's going to happen to everybody on earth, because the earth is awakening. The whole entire earth is awakening, and that means everything on it has to awaken as well. And that includes all of us. And I know you're probably thinking like, I know some people that I don't know if they can handle this. Everybody's going to have their own form of awakening. and it will be beautiful and the world will be better. But it happens on an individual basis. It's happening through each one of us. We wake up and we decide, I want to live in love. Everything I do, I want it to be love. And that's kind of what happens when you go through a Kundalini awakening. Everything changes. So I hope this was educational. I hope this was informative. I love you all. Again, if you have questions, feel free to message me. I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.